Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihar Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihar Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Shri Radhe Jaya Lalita Vishakha Lalita Vishakha Shri Radhe Jaya Nitai Gora Sundar Nitai Gora Sundar Gora Hari Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parijakacharya Sthato Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Rachula Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parijakacharya Sthato Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Rachula Prabhupada Ki Thai Gaur Premanandi. Thank you devotees for joining for today's Bhagavatam class. Am I audible nicely? I think Zoom should be fine. Okay. So we'll be reading from 7th canto, starting a new chapter. I believe we are supposed to read from chapter 12, canto 7, the perfect society for spiritual classes. So I was supposed to chant or read from text 1 to 6. However, the summary given by Prabhupada to this chapter is so filled with nectar. So we'll just read text 1 and then we'll discuss this summary of this chapter, which is also given by Prabhupada, just like the purports are also given by His Divine Grace. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is Canto 7, Chapter 12, text number 1. Shri Narada Uvacha Brahmachari Gurukule Vashandanto Gurorhitam Acharan Dasavanniko Guru Shrudra Sohridaha Shri Narada Uvacha Brahmachari Gurukule Vasandanto Gurorhitam Acharandasavanicho Guru Sridhra Suhridaha Sri Narada Vacha Brahmachari Gurukule Vasandanto Gurorhitam Acharandasavanicho Guru Sudra Suhridaha. Please chant. Sri Narada Vacha Brahmachari Gurukule Vasandanto Gurorhitam Asavan Nicho Guru Sridhas Rohidaha. Wanna give it a try? Can you share the verse with him, please? Here. This one. Should read out this, you should express my thought. Vinanda Vacha Brahmachari Gurukule Vasandanto Gururitam Acharandasavan Nicho Guru Srita Sarorita. Okay, thank you. Sri Narada Vacha. Sri Narada Muni said, Brahmachari, a brahmachari, the student living at the residence of the Guru, Gurukule, at the residence of the Guru, Vasan, by living, Danta, continuously practicing control of the senses, Guru Hitam, only for the benefit of the Guru, not for one's personal benefit. Acharan, practicing, Dasavat, very humbly like a slave. Nicha, submissive, obedient. Guru, unto the spiritual master. Sudridaha, firmly. Sorida, in friendship or goodwill. Translation by His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Narada Muni said, a student should practice completely controlling his senses. He should be submissive and should have an attitude of firm friendship for the spiritual master. With the great vow, the brahmachari should live at the Gurukula only for the benefit of the Guru. Okay, so we'll jump back to the chapter summary and I'll try to share some realizations and some things that I got out of uh, as I reflected on this chapter summary. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Prabhupada is giving the chapter summary here for this chapter 12 of Canto 7. And as we know, Canto 7 is famous for the pastime of Lord Nrsimhadev and Prahlad Maharaj. So we are actually hearing from Narada Muni, who is talking to King Yudhishthira. And Narada Muni is elucidating to King Yudhishthira the different uh, social orders and the spiritual ashrams, the way society should be divided in order for everyone to make spiritual advancement. As we know about the varnashram system that is given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, Chatur Varna Maya Shrishna Guna Karma Vibhagasa. So over here, Narada Muni is expanding on this system of varnashram, and I think in the previous chapters or in the coming chapters, Narada Muni will also talk about ideal family life. So it's beautiful chapters on how, as practitioners of Bhakti Yoga, we can imbibe and apply some and many of these principles in our life. So Prabhupada writes, this chapter particularly describes the brahmachari and the person in the vanaprastha stage. It also gives a general description of the four ashrams: brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. In the previous chapter, the great saint Narada Muni has described the Varna institution of society, and now in this chapter he will describe the stages of spiritual advancement in the four ashrams, which are known as Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So, as we know, that Krishna is very inclusive. Krishna is always thinking of Krishna and his devotees are always thinking for the welfare of all the living entities, and understanding that not everyone, not all the living entities will directly take up the path of spiritual enlightenment, of Krishna consciousness. Krishna creates this amazing system of varnashram, of dividing the society in four social orders, dividing the four main occupational categories in which living entities can work, engage themselves, and make spiritual advancement, and also four spiritual orders, four spiritual ashrams in which living entities can situate themselves, take shelter of those ashrams to make spiritual advancement. And when we reflect on this varnashram institution, which is although material, but helping living entities make spiritual progress, you see how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so compassionate and merciful that He's taking uh, that that endeavor, that extra going the extra mile to make sure that everyone has a chance to come closer to Krishna. Everyone has a chance to go back to Godhead. Not that, okay, well, if you can't follow the Bhakti Yoga process, if you can't follow Krishna consciousness, that's it, game over for you. No, it's like Krishna has so compassionately given uh, himself through these through Varnashram, where even though we might be uh, not so much interested in self-realization, however, by situating ourselves in these four social and spiritual orders, we can become purified and make spiritual advancement. So, as it is described here in the previous chapter, Narada Muni described the four social orders of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. These are the four social orders uh, in which human beings can situate themselves and engage in occupational activities. These four social orders are, in a metaf- metaphorical way, described as the four different parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Brahmanas are the head of the society, which give direction, which give guidance to the whole human society, as to making as to make sure that the society heads in the direction of spiritual advancement. It's being progressive. The Kshatriyas, the administrators, the warriors are considered to be the hands of the society because they are making sure they are doing the job of protecting the human society. Vaishyas are considered to be the belly of the society because they engage in agriculture and cow protection. That's the main uh, occupational duty for the Vaishyas. Although sometimes it is understood or misunderstood, Vaishyas to be people engaging in business, as we more so see in India, the caste systems, like, okay, anyone who's doing some business, import, export of goods and products or anything business, any kind of business, they will be like, oh, he's a Vaishya. But over here, specifically business exchange of agricultural products, food grains, and milk products. So agriculture and cow protection is the main occupational activity for the Vaishyas. And you might think, why is that? Why only agriculture and cow protection? Why not something else is considered as Vaishya uh, responsibility and occupational duty? You know, can have so many, can make, as we, as in current day and age, it would be kind of looked down upon if you are engaging in some sort of business related to agriculture. Why? Because it's not profitable. How much revenue can you earn if just by engaging in agriculture, unless you have, like you are the giant industries who are leading the the production of food grains. And of course, more so the production, more than production, these giant industries are actually engaged in killing and destroying the consciousness of the living entity, killing innocent animals, and of course, killing the planet Earth. Because the foundation of the current civilization is to increase monetary value for each and in each individual, monetary value on a national level, GDP on an international level. How can engage in businesses which will help in economic growth, economic development, and that becomes the measure for progress and for success. Whereas on the spiritual side of things, real progress, real advancement is in terms of consciousness. That's where real success lies. And food is such a significant player in that advancement. Food, as we know, carries consciousness, and the way food is produced, the way food is transported, cooked, so on and so forth, uh, it it affects our our level of consciousness. And so it is important for us to understand and realize that for Vaishyas, it is the most important thing to protect the cows and engage in producing uh, food grains, agriculture. As Krishna, we know, is fond of the brahmanas and the cows. Namo brahmana devai go brahmana hetaicha. And so through this uh, embedding this principle of agriculture and cow protection, living entities gets purified when they engage in these occupational activities. For somebody who is engaging in Vaishya affairs, uh, although it seems very much hard labor endeavor, which requires a lot of physical effort, but it it makes us dependent on Mother Nature. It makes us humble, knowing that we might do our endeavors, but nature is an ultimate control. And of course, who is the controller of nature is Krishna himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so there is Brahmana, the head of the society, Kshatriya, the hands, Vaishyas, the belly of the society, and then the Shudras, who are considered to be the legs of the society, who engage in labor and craftsmanship. And the Shudras assist the other three orders in running the society. And as it is described in the Bhagavad Gita, that these four orders are divided based on guna, based on one's quality, one's nature. So it's not that one class is less important than the other. No, all of them are equally important. But at the same time, there is the hierarchy that you need brahmanas, you need the head of the society so that the society can can go in the right direction. And what we see nowadays in our current civilization is that we mu- we have no brahmanas. We might have some here and there, some kshatriyas, some real kshatriyas, not just sitting on the seat and giving orders. We might have some vaishyas, uh, but more so, everyone is sitting in the category of shudras, but taking on these higher roles of brahmana, kshatriya, and vaishyas. And because of that, because there is no head in the society, imagine a body without head. It's just going in different direction, getting hit by this thing, that thing. There's so much chaos. There's so many conflicts, so many problems. That's because there is no intelligent class of people who can give society direction. And so that's why Prabhupada would say the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, is producing real brahmanas who can give direction to the human civilization. So we'll continue reading. The brahmachari should live under the care of the true spiritual master giving him sincere respect and obeisances, acting as his menial servant, and always carrying out his order. The brahmachari should engage in spiritual activities and study the Vedic literature under the direction of the spiritual master. According to the brahmacharya system, he should dress with a belt morning and in the evening, and in the evening, whatever alms he has collected, he should offer to the spiritual master. Brahmachari should accept prasad upon the order of the spiritual master, and if the spiritual master sometimes forgets to order the disciple to eat, the disciple should not take prasad on his own initiative, rather, he should fast. The brahmachari should be trained to be satisfied with eating what is absolutely necessary. He should be very expert in executing responsibilities. He should be faithful and he should control his senses and try to avoid the association of women as far as possible. A brahmachari should very strictly abstain from living with women and should not meet with grihasthas and those too addicted to women. Nor should a brahmachari speak in a lonely place with a woman. So, after describing the four social orders, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, over here in this chapter, Narada Muni is focusing on the four spiritual classes. And as we know, uh, these four spiritual classes, which we are hearing in more depth, uh, are the brahmacharis, grihasthas, vanaprasthas, and sannyas. Brahmachari, the student life, the householder life, the retired life, and the renounced order of life. It's interesting because just yesterday I was talking to one student and we were discussing about exactly the same topic on four varnas and ashrams. And we were discussing how in today's day and age, uh, there is no concept of training. There is no this idea of being trained under a teacher, under a guide is so much lacking. There's people want to be self-educated. They want to feel that they are capable enough to learn on their own, with emerging AI and so many, so much information on internet. It feels redundant to have a teacher. And of course, we know why people go to university and educational institutions. It's not so much for learning, but more so for the social scene of it, to be part of just be part of the social vibe. Maybe there might be some handful who are actually trying to learn, but the majority are just trying to, engage in affairs which, if, according to the Vedic system, would would be looked down upon. It's like over here we are reading brahmachari. He's This is the class of society from the age of 5 to 25, roughly according to Vedic system, where the individuals are trained uh, under the care of a guide, of a teacher, under the care of true spiritual master, in menial service, in engaging in very small, insignificant activities to cultivate humility, to cultivate these amazing qualities of discipline, accepting the orders of authority. And these are this phase of brahmachari life Again, of course, according to the Vedic system, as soon as one is 4 or 5 years old, they're sent to the Gurukul. Off you go and get trained. But in our current day and age, the society, 21st century we're living in, no matter what age we find out about Krishna, we find about Bhakti Yoga, we have the opportunity to enroll ourselves in this ashram, in the brahmachari ashram, to be trained to live our life, to be trained to control our minds, and then to head in the direction that is progressive. So it's not that, okay, well, I'm 30, I'm past that age of being in the brahmachari ashram. Seems like I should just take sannyas now or anything. No, no matter at what age we start our spiritual life, we have the opportunity to be trained. Now, of course, you might question, well, does that mean that in order to practice Krishna consciousness, first I have to give up my job, to give up my family life, put saffron on, and then get the training, then I can actually become a devotee? No, the principles are there. It's not that everyone has to put on saffron. The principles, as we are hearing here by Narada Muni, engaging in spiritual activities, studying the Vedic literature under the guidance of spiritual master, being satisfied just by eating prasad. So it's not that one has to physically relocate oneself to a brahmachari ashram. Where's the closest brahmachari ashram I can enroll myself in? Of course, if we have the means and facility, if we have that situation where we can enroll ourselves, we should give ourselves that opportunity. As my spiritual master often says that being in the brahmachari ashram is the perfect training ground. And so whether because eventually everyone moves on to a grihastha ashram, everyone becomes a householder. So if it's whether you become a householder or not, that days of being in the brahmachari ashram uh, are so bedrock, foundational in our spiritual life. They help us in creating that foundation. And that foundation again comes with tapas. It comes with austerity that that this ashram is designed for, engaging in austerity. And what is the austerity of today's day and age? Is to chant Hare Krishna mantra. That's the only austerity um, that we have to perform, chanting 16 rounds. Um, and we just chanting 16 rounds becomes such a big deal for us. It becomes such a massive headache that you know we just like make it a we drag our rounds uh, just to kind of get over with it. 1 round done, 2 round done, oh, 14, 15 more to go. But again, because we have no training in 21st century, we have no proper this idea of discipline. So austerity seems so foreign. It feels like why should I do something which I don't like to do? I should just I should just do whatever I want. And spiritual life should be like that. spiritual life should be easy. Just do whatever you feel like doing. In fact, one of the pseudo New Age spiritualist philosopher, he said, choose a spiritual path which has the least number of rules and regulations, because the rules and regulations put you down, they suppress you from going and levitating up in the air and being fully enlightened and realized. But that's all nonsense. Rules and regulations actually protect us. And that's why Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita says the regulative principles of freedom by engaging in, by practicing the four regs, the four regulative principles, we are freeing ourselves. We are helping ourselves become disentangled from illusory energy. We think we have freedom, but actually we are bound by the three modes of material nature, the three gunamai. But when we start practicing Krishna consciousness and we start applying the principles, although it feels like we are following all these rules and regulations and all these getting up early in the morning, taking shower early in the morning. What's this? It's like in college days, you would take a shower at once, twice, once in a couple of days and wake up at 11, 12, just 5 minutes before the class begins or something. And so this, all these principles seem so foreign and difficult, but actually this lifestyle makes us it frees us from the bondage of Maya. It frees us from our mind and gives us so much independence and freedom to make real choices. And so over here we hear more in depth how a brahmachari should carry himself or herself, brahmachari. Uh, Again, we have to remember the principle, the essence of it, not that these principles are only to be followed by somebody who's in saffron, who's living in the brahmachari ashram, but anyone who's not can just do whatever. Over here, we are seeing the real standards. Prabhupada is giving us the real standard for being a brahmachari. Just take prasadam, which which is which is given by the spiritual master. Of course, how I see this point is only eating prasadam, not eating, offering our food stuff to our spiritual master and then honoring him and not uh, eating bhoga, abstaining from associating with the opposite sex unnecessarily. Of course, if there's service needed, then we have to be practical. We can't be fanatics. But it's unnecessary mingling, unnecessary exchange creates disturbance in the minds of of not only the people but also the community. So we'll keep reading. After completing one's education as a brahmachari in this way, one should give dakshina, an offering of gratitude to one's guru, and then one may leave for home and accept the next ashram, the grihastha ashram, or else one may continue in the brahmacharya ashram without adulteration. The duties for the grihastha ashram and brahmacharya ashram, as well as the duties for the sannyasis, are prescribed in the shastras. A grihastha is not meant to enjoy sex life without restriction. Indeed, the whole purpose of Vedic life is to become free from sexual indulgence. All the ashrams are recognized for spiritual progress, and therefore, although the Grihastha ashram gives a kind of license for sex life for certain time, it does not allow unrestricted sex life. Therefore, in Grihastha life, also there is no illicit sex. A Grihastha should not accept a woman for sexual enjoyment. Wasting semen is also illicit sex. So again, we are seeing the real standards. It's not the it's not that okay, now I'm a Grihastha, just I can just do whatever I want. It still there is in fact more control, more having reins on our mind to be in the Grihastha ashram. Usually, when somebody transitions from brahmachari to grihastha, for some reason, not sure why, it is looked down upon. At least in our society, it's like, oh, well, he was a brahmachari, now he's a grihastha. Well, hope he's able to make it. But actually, moving to a grihastha ashram is a level up because now, as a grihastha, the individual has to apply everything that they learned in the brahmachari ashram in the real life. Because in the brahmachari life, things are to some degree bit more theoretical, to some degree. But in the grihastha ashram, you're dealing with another person. You're dealing with another person's mind, and so it becomes more imperative for individual to control their mind, control their senses, and keep Krishna as the center of their life. And so it's a level up when somebody transitions from being a brahmachari to a grihastha. And of course, if somebody has that intense determination and willpower to make it all the way, Naishtika Brahmacharya, full full lifetime celibacy vow, then that all glories to them, all glories to those individuals. But for most part, for most of the individuals, they shift, they transition to Grihastha ashram. And so as uh, in our society, we need more and more ideal grihasthas that other juniors and others can look up to. The more we have the ideal grihasthas, the more there will be uh, that purity and potency for uh, expanding and sharing Krishna consciousness among the larger population. So the grihasthas actually hold so much responsibility in their hands for uh, this Krishna consciousness movement, for the expansion of this Krishna conscious movement. Of course, Rupa Goswami says in uh, maybe it's Nectar of Devotion, I'm forgetting to give 50% of one's earning to one's spiritual master for the service. And so again, if we have ideal grihasthas, they will use their resources, they will use their uh, earnings and finances for uplifting the consciousness of the society. So we'll quickly read the final paragraph for the sake of time. After the Grihastha ashram is another ashram known as Vanaprastha, which is midway between Grihastha and Sannyas. A person in the Vanaprastha order is restricted in eating food grains and forbidden to eat fruits that have not ripened on the tree. Nor should he cook food with fire, although he is allowed to eat charu, grains that have been offered in sacrificial fire. He may also eat fruits and grains that have grown naturally. Living in a thatched cottage, the Vanaprastha should endure all kinds of heat and cold. He should not cut his nails or hair and should give up cleaning his body and teeth. He should wear the tree bark, accept the danda, and practice life in the forest, taking a vow to live there for 12 years, 8 years, 4 years, 2 years, or at least 1 year. At last, when because of old age he can no longer perform the activities of a vanaprastha, he should gradually stop everything and in this way give up his body. So we'll stop here and see if anyone has any thoughts, comments, questions, reflections. I'm sure you all can read in much more depth and detail what Narada Muni has to say for these four spiritual classes. But I just wanted to, yeah, discuss and reflect on the Prabhupada summary. Yes, Tanya.
Is it the guru who takes a yard have to do it, or so like any?
Well, sannyas is, there are two kinds of sannyas. One sannyas is externally one takes on that dress, taking on the danda, changing their name, so on and so forth. That's one kind of sannyas, which of course happens according to the qualification. Can't just be like, okay, I've been a brahmachari for 5 years, maybe it's time for me to take sannyas. No, there's a whole, actually, there's a whole bureau, there's a whole board of uh, senior devotees in, at least in our society, who who governs, who make sure that the standards for those who are taking sannyas is maintained, uh, doing, spending, having a clean portfolio, so to speak. So that's one sannyas. That's one way to look at sannyas externally. But then there's also, as Krishna, as Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad Gita, sannyas also means internally accepting, taking on renouncement, understanding and knowing that nothing in this world belongs to us. Everything belongs to Krishna. So we have to embrace that principle of renunciation, that yes, nothing belongs to me. Whatever resources I have, they don't belong to me. This family does not belong to me. It's just been given to me. Krishna has provided me with this family to take care of, so we can engage in Krishna's service. So that's another way to look at sannyas. Okay. Okay, so we'll stop here. Gruntraj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Shil Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanandi.